Hello and good evening. I'm Sam Connell. I'm one of the librarians at New Canaan Library. We're so delighted you could join us here tonight to learn a little bit more about Value Line, which is an incredible resource that we offer at New Canaan Library. So this evening, we're very lucky to have Sean McGowan with us. He's from
Hi.
Value Line, and he's one of the library specialists. So he's going to show us, he's going to give us a bit of a tour of Value Line, show you a lot of the functionality, and he will be able to answer any of the questions you have this evening. Thank you so much, Sean, for joining us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So, uh, thanks, Sam. And I guess I'm gonna get started here. I'm gonna turn my camera off in a minute, and then everyone hopefully will see the screen with Value Line. You can see the mouse moving now. So hopefully we have people. And let me get started. Well, first let me say it's give a quick, I guess, agenda. I'm going to discuss the history of Value Line, like what it is that Value Line does. I know there's a lot of people on this call who are very familiar with Value Line, but just to make sure how we got to today. Then I'm going to show how to use the website, how to bring up individual companies, how to bring up our different reports and our lists, and then I'll go into how to find ideas of companies, and then I'll show the special features that the library subscribes to. So with that in mind, let me launch in. I'm going to turn my camera off, and we can turn our attention to the screen. So let me just go to stop video, and there we go. Okay, so here we are. This is the page of Value Line that you would see once you click the link for New Canaan and enter your
Sean,
barcode. Yep.
hey, Sean, sorry to interrupt. We're just going to need you to share your screen. We don't have it up yet.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
No problem.
Let's see. Now?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks. Yep, and there. Okay, now I see the screen with the annotations too. So here's the screen. This is the screen that you see when you log in or click the link on the library site, enter your barcode, and here you come to what we call the dashboard. And here, oh, I'm trying to annotate. Let me see. Oh, there it is. So there's the dashboard here, and we're going to talk a lot about the quick links here, and then a company name and symbol up here. But before we do, I mentioned that I want to talk a little bit about the history of Value Line. So Value Line's been around since 1931. The founder went through Black Tuesday, I think October 29th, 1928, I believe. And, or was it October 29th? I think that was it. Anyway, so he decided there must be a better way. There must be some rules you can apply to companies to figure out if they're worth buying or not. So he devised these rules. He applied them to the top companies that were traded every day, and he would give a number from 1 to 5. If the company was given a 1, it was worth buying on the timeliness scale. If it was given a 5, it was not worth buying. It's also a safety scale. Is it a safe time to buy the company? 1 is good, 5 is bad. So when you're looking at individual companies, one of the things you're looking at is a timeliness rating and the safety rating, 1 to 5. His first product was the Value Line Investment Survey, the right here, VLIS. Today, the Value Line Investment Survey covers roughly 1,700 companies. These are the 1,700 companies that make up about 94% of the companies that get traded on an average day. So we take these 1,700 companies and we divide them up into industries. Let me just clear this drawings. Turn this off. Here. So we take the 1,700 companies, we divide them up into, I think, about 96 or 97 industries, and we assign them to the Value Line analysts. And if you're a Value Line analyst, you have a certain number of companies that you cover. you have to put a report out for each of your companies once every 13 weeks. So every company in the Value Line Investment Survey has one report put out about it once every 13 weeks. That is an investment survey volume, and the volume are 13 issues. 52 divided by 13 is 4. There are 52 weeks in the year. So there are 4 volumes a year with 13 issues. And in those 13 issues, the 1,700 companies each receive one report. So every company gets 4 a year. Does that make sense about the investment survey? You can put in the chat if it doesn't, because what we're going to do today is show you how to find individual companies that you might be interested in, or how to get ideas. So the investment survey has been around since 1931. Then they came out with another survey called the Small and Mid Cap Survey. And that is, one second here, that's another 1,700 SMC, small and mid cap companies. So the Value Line Investment Survey is 1,700 companies, and then small and mid cap is another 1,700 companies. New Canaan subscribes to both, so there's 3,400 companies that are covered by Value Line that you can find in the library. That's a little bit of the history of Value Line. What happened is we used to do print surveys. We still do print surveys. We send these reports out every week, but libraries are going digital. You can get these reports get updated every week. On Monday morning, the new group of reports come out, and you can come here to search. So I mentioned that you can do an individual company. Now, we call that idea validation. If you have a company in mind, you want Value Line to validate whether or not it's a good idea to buy it. If you're looking for ideas, we call that idea generation. So a company that a lot of people like to look at and own is Apple. So I typed in the symbol. You might have noticed I just started, as soon as I started the letter A, it came up with all the companies with an A. I'm going to click Apple. And it's going to give us the digital report. In the digital report, as I mentioned before, those 2 ranking systems, timeliness and safety, are right here. Apple has a safety of 1, a timeliness of 1. The last price as of 15 minutes ago. The 18-month target price range, where we think it can go. We think it can have a high of 271 or a low of 130. So at 160, it's closer to the low than the high, which is why we give it a timeliness of 1. Also, the industry rank. I mentioned before that we took the 1,700 companies and divided them into 97 industries. Apple is in the computer peripheral industry, which is 73 of 97, which means it's not in the group of companies that are getting a lot of trading these days. So this is the digital report. And I'm going to scroll down in a minute after I get rid of this writing, but there's also the PDF reports. These are the traditional reports. So if you're someone who's familiar with Value Line, if you know what a Value Line report is and you know how to go into the library and pull the green binder and pull it out and find a company you liked and saw a report, those reports are right here under PDF reports. So let me show you that. I mentioned that it's 4 reports a year, once every 13 weeks. So the last 4 reports on Apple are December 24th, September 24th, June 25th, March 26th. It means the next one for Apple is coming out in about a month. I'm going to go to the December 24th report. Now, I'm not sure what the timeliness and the safety were back on December 24th, but I'll point out that as of today, there's a timeliness of 1 and a safety of 1. Here's the report. Again, if anyone knows Value Line reports, this look pretty familiar. It was 1 and 1 back in Christmas time as well. I'm looking up here in the upper left-hand corner. If you are the analyst, or the analyst who covers Apple is named Mario Ferro, he's down here. Mario, when he knows that he has to issue a report about a company that he follows, pulls up the last report, updates all of the information here, updates the timeliness and safety, and also puts anything that's new in bold down here. So there are people who just like to flip through those reports to see what's in bold because they might find something interesting. Maybe there's a lawsuit won or a lawsuit lost or a new CEO or a merger. They usually get mentioned here in the bottom right hand corner of the reports. In the digital world, a good way to do that is you can sort by timeliness and bring those things to the top, and the ones with timeliness have the interesting information in the reports. Before I leave the digital report of Apple, you'll see that this just slid out. There's a vertical bar here. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to go to charting. Excuse me. And it takes me to the bottom, and this is obviously something that can only happen in digital. I'm going to click this diagonal line in the box, bring it to the front. It defaults to 10 years. So 10 years ago, value Apple was at $24, and now it's at $182. But you can go by 1 day, by 1 year, by 3 years. So this is kind of nice. This was interesting. If we go to 3 years, you can kind of see how it did. It still actually did pretty well through COVID because everyone started buying products for home. So here they are. So that's a digital report. These are all modules. You can go and get different reports, selection and opinion, summary and index. I'll show you what those are in a minute. You can go back to pull those. The industry analysis, I mentioned that Apple is in the peripheral or the computer peripheral. I'm going to bring that to the front. And you can go to list of companies, and you can find other companies and see how their timeliness is. Seagate Technology has a timeliness of 2. You can go through it and see if there are other companies that have other timeliness that you'd be interested in. So these are these modules that are on the digital page. Each of these you can look at a little further if you want. Let's say something happens in those 13 weeks, the 13 weeks between, in this case, in Apple's case, between September 24th and December 24th. And it's worth posting, but it's not necessarily going to make the news. It might be buried in a newspaper or not on the radio and TV. The commentary module right here has the items that happen in between the time periods. This is 2022. So on January 7th, there was a technical rank upgrade. And on January 28th, there was an earning predictability down. So again, if you're that analyst, you have to post these items, and you do this for all the companies that you follow. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard now, back here. I'm afraid I was logged out. That happens on VPNs with us sometimes. I'm just going to go and log back in. That might happen, I'm afraid, 2 or 3 times, but I think it's because of the VPN. I'll go back to the dashboard. And here we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring up another company. Apple was an easy one to bring up. It's always got timeliness of 1, safety of 1. I was interested about cars, just if people are going to start buying cars again and what they think. So I'm going to go to Honda. I'm going to click Honda. I don't believe this one's doing as well. Let's see. Yeah, so this gets interesting because people think people will start buying cars, but they've got a timeliness of 5. Apple had a timeliness of 1, which meant it's a good thing to buy. The Honda has a timeliness of 5 and a safety of 3. So let's look at the basics real quick. $30 was the last price. A low of 26.81, so it's on the low end of where it can go. So the next thing you might want a financial strength of a B+. Next thing you might want to look at is those PDF reports right here. And let's go and see when the last report was. It was February, so it was recent. And let's see what they're saying. So I'm going to go down here, and I have not looked at this latest one. We suggest investors look elsewhere for now. So it doesn't get more blunt than that. We look for results to strengthen in the years ahead. You'd have to go a little further into the description here to find out why they're a little nervous about Honda, but they are. Let's actually go then, if they don't like Honda, let's go to the industry analysis. It's in the automotive rank, which is 51. If you remember, Apple was in 73, and Value Line's world, 1 is good, higher number is bad. I'm gonna go to list of companies. Well, Ferrari gets a 1. That's interesting. Tesla, General Motors has a 2. So you might want to go, and it's going to start to get a little repetitive now, because what you're trying to do in Value Line is either look up a company you like, idea validation, or get ideas, idea generation. Either way, you get to this digital report. Maybe look over the fields in the digital report that you find interesting, or go to the PDF and just print it out. Bring up a report and just print it out. So let's do General Motors. And this has a timeless of 2, a safety of 3, but I'm looking at the exact same fields that I looked at before. So I was just showing you how to kind of, go on a search using Value Line. We're back to the dashboard. That was idea validation right up here. I just use this box up here. Everything else going forward that was idea validation. Everything else going forward is going to be idea generation, meaning let's get some ideas. So one thing that a lot of people do, if you're familiar with Value Line, you'd be familiar with the selection and opinion, which is what we would select to buy if we were allowed to, and why, and what's going on. And as you go down, one of the things people really like in here is our portfolios, our model portfolios. We create 4 lists, i.e. portfolios, of stocks we would buy. Portfolio 1 is for aggressive investors. This list will change every few weeks because it's companies we think people might be interested in buying now that might be doing well in a month or so, or a few weeks or so. That's portfolio 1. Portfolio 2, more conservative investors, a stock that maybe you want to sit on for a few months and watch, and hopefully you can do well in a few months with this list. Again, the stock companies go on and off this list, but a little less frequently than in portfolio number 1. Portfolio 3 is primarily suitable for a 3 to 5 year horizon. We've actually had some professional investors email say they love this list because they love to park things there and then come back to it. And then primarily suitable for investors interested in current income. Portfolio 4, dividend yields. This is if you're looking for dividends. If you want to collect dividend checks, this is the list of companies we would suggest you use. There's going to be a lot of familiar household names in there. Caterpillar, Intel, Coca-Cola. These are places that if you're looking for suggestions on dividends, this is a good list. Later in a few minutes, I'll be going to other lists that we provide that the library subscribes to. But before I do that, I actually want to come back to the dashboard to show you other ways to get ideas. But that was a selection of opinion. And I also know from talking to a few people, a few library patrons and professional investors, that they don't even use the website other than selection opinion. They just like to print that list out every week, or those 4 lists, especially portfolio 1, and see what changed. But let's say you want to actually do some searching, not just for a company you have in mind, but you want to get ideas. Well, the first thing you can go to is this week's current issue, the Value Line Investment Survey current issue, which is updated every Monday morning. I'm going to go into here. And now that we've discussed timeliness and safety, just going to go and click timeliness right here. And in this current issue, which is usually around 120 reports or so, 1, 2, 3, 4 companies have a timeliness of 1. We're just looking at timeliness. We're not looking at the stock price. One of them, Antero Resources, is $22 a share. SBA Communications is $291 a share, but we're not looking at that now. We're just looking at whether or not the Value Line analysts feel this is worth buying right now, and these are the 4 that they do. And you can just go ahead and click on one. I'll just click on Antero, and it's going to look familiar because here we are. We're at the digital report again. This has a financial strength of a C++. That's not the best. A timeliness of 1, a safety of 5, and you can go down and look at any of the modules you like, or you can look at those 4 reports, bring it up, and print one. So that's the current issue here, and you can go through them. Also, if you want to see the entire survey, or actually in Canaan's case, the 3,400 companies that they invest in, because they have the investment survey and the small and mid cap survey, I'm going to go to browse research right here. The center one there, by the way, is Antero. There's General Motors, there's Honda. That's what we were looking at, because as your search goes on, you can come back to the end and you can go and click the reports or click on the companies that you like. So I'm going to go back to the company report here. I'm sorry, browse research. And I'm going to click, let me highlight this, analyst covered. It's a little cryptic in the way it's named. It's called analyst covered because it's all of the companies that you subscribe to, the library subscribed to, covered by analysts. And again, you find this under browse research. And in this case, it's all 3,400 companies. So you click that. And you mentioned, remember before when I clicked timeliness, I got 4 companies with a timeliness of 1, because I was only looking at this week's group of reports. But when you look at the entire amount of companies, you get all of these ones. Then you can kind of go down and look on the left, or look at whatever field you like at stock price. And you can get an idea of things you might be interested. Just click on the company, you'll see the digital report, click on the PDFs to see the 4 reports if you like. So that's how to look at everything. The dashboard here is how to look at the current issue. The selection and opinion is one way to get to the portfolios. I'm about to show you another way. And then for those familiar with the printed surveys, the summary and index is that weekly mailing as well. There are some charts in here that people like, and you can get that as a PDF and print the whole thing out. But I think it's 40 pages, or print out just the page you like. So the 3 items that would get mailed to a library, for those familiar with it, the investment survey, current issue, the summary index, and selection opinion, are all accessible here. 1, 2, and 3. Items that I'm going to go over in a few minutes that are unique to the site are the Fund Advisor Plus, the special situations, the new ETF service, and the climate change. But I'm going to come back to them in a minute, because I'm still in the area where you find ideas. So before I'm going to do that by going here, find ideas, and I'm going to go to a screener where we're going to screen out stocks. But any questions? I know I've been talking for a little while. Sam, you can let me know if there's any questions in the chat.
We do have a question.
Okay.
Zuhair has asked, can you use value line to look at the S&P 500 or the Wilshire 5000?
I've heard about the S&P 500. I'm not sure about the Wilshire 5000. Sam, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one.
Okay, great, thanks.
Well, so it's the S&P 500 and the Wilshire. I'm not sure if we can, but I will check and say, and I'll have to get back to you tomorrow on that. Okay, so now I'm going to find ideas. Another way to find ideas. One was to look at this week's current issue, or look at the entire group of stocks you subscribe to. Under Find Ideas, here's the model portfolios that were in selection and opinion. Sorry, that logged me out. The model portfolios, here they are. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Maybe you just want to jump to portfolio 1 because those are the most active stocks. Here it is. You can go ahead and you can print that out. Or if you're looking for good ideas for dividends, you just click portfolio 4 and it's here. Same exact list that were in the selection opinion that you found from the dashboard. But what I really want to show you under this page is the screener right here. Because I brought up companies and I was just looking at timeliness, and price wasn't a factor because our customers are the trading desk of Goldman Sachs, all the way down to people who just want to own 4 or 5 stocks a year, and everybody in between. So when you're trading financial advisor, stock prices might not intimidate you. You don't really care if it's $400 a share. But if you're looking to trade every once in a while, you might want to know more about price. So find ideas. Screener is just like any website. If you've ever bought something on a website and you've selected it by color, availability, size, number of ratings, that kind of a thing, and I'm sure everyone on this call has done that. That's what's going on right here, except it's for the stocks that Value Line covers, and it's what we would recommend. So for Value Line preset screens, right here, these are templates under Value Line preset screens. And the template that and actually our analysts I know go to from talking to them, is timely stocks and timely industries. And it's just, we had seen that Apple was somewhere in the 70s and the cars were somewhere in the 50s in terms of the industries, the most popular industries that are traded the most. And of the companies that have a 1 and a 2, 1 is good, 5 is bad, there are 263 companies that have a timeless of 1 or 2 in the top 35 industries. But each line item here is a field. And you can add any of these fields, and I'm going to choose stock price. And I'm going to take stock price, and I'm going to bring it down to anything to $22 or less. And I get to 18. I get to 18 companies. Maybe that's a little high. Maybe I'll go down, or I'll lower the industry ranking. And now that just lowered me down to 15. But okay, I'll do 15. They're all a timeliness of 2. So I'll sort it by the last close price. And here they are. Here's Hud Bay Minerals at $7.80. Timeless of 2. Ironwood Pharmaceutical. Altis. So I'll do something in the middle. I don't know what these guys do. I'm gonna actually, this is on the screener. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna open the link in a new tab. So it's opening up here. Close this one. And we're back to a digital report. And from the digital report, we can go through the different modules. Let's actually see the chart on this one. Remember, I went to the vertical line, charting. I'm going to bring it to the front. And this is what it's been doing for 10 years. Let's see on the last year. This is the last year. It's kind of at a downward trend, which means since it got a 1 or a 2, a timeless of 2, the analyst might think things are turning around. So let's go up to that last report, which was this week, February 18th, or last week. And here it is. It was timeless of 2, a safety of 3. And let's scroll up a little bit and see what's in bold. Strong cash flow should keep M&A on the front burner. That's what gets interesting about this searching feature. Finding out that a company that is in the informational services industry, last price $15, we think can go to 63. It's actually a little lower than its low here. So that's why we're thinking not a bad time to look at that, although a safety of 3. So this is the kind of research you can do using the screener. And then remember, you can go back to the browse research to track what you've been looking at and print out the reports for the companies. So this is almost ending the idea of idea generation for individual companies. I'm going to go back to the dashboard and show about mutual funds and ETFs, some other portfolios. But hopefully you'll remember, and Sam should have a PDF, or I could send it to her again, of actually how to run a screen. This is called running a screen because it's a screener, and it can show you the steps. So I'm going to go now to the other features, unless there's some other questions. Let's see, we have 6:30, so I think we're doing okay for time. All right, so what I showed you, just to remind you, using the colors, is we went over the current issue, the summary and index, the selection and opinion. We looked for specific companies up here we brought up all of the companies here, and we found the screener here under Find Ideas and also the model portfolios. But now I'm going to show you if you have any interest in mutual funds, the Fund Advisor Plus. If you have any interest in ETFs, I'll show you that quickly too. ETFs like a fund, mutual fund, I'll explain it. And then we have these portfolios, which are the special situations and the climate change. In fact, I'll start with climate change. Then I'll do the mutual funds because climate change is an interesting name. This is a newsletter that comes out with a portfolio of companies that will do well because of climate change. They're not necessarily trying to save the world. Some are. Some just because of climate change have services people need. So this is the newsletter. You can read a little bit about, this is economics of solar roofing. That was in this issue. Climate change investing portfolio is what I'm going to go to though. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go down, and this is the list of companies. So Beyond Meat, we feel might do okay. Ford Motors, First Solar, but also Lowe's, Kellogg. Any of these companies, you can kind of take a look. This was the stock price when it released. So this isn't a bad sheet if you're looking for ideas to invest. This is not a bad page to go to and print out as a place to start. And just a reminder, I got there, going back to the dashboard from climate change down here. Next thing I'm going to do, actually I'll do the other list, and that's special situations. So special situations on that list of items in the quick links in the left-hand column. And in special situations, I'll just open, we give a new recommendation for, I'll just go into the newsletter. There's two portfolios, aggressive stock portfolio. So a little more risky, but companies we like that are aggressive. Conservative stock portfolio to invest in, and you'll probably do a little better. This is the ones where you take your chances, but you can do well. This is the second page of the special situations. So if you just go once a month to print out the second page of the special situations, the list under climate change, and maybe the model portfolio, that's going to give you 30 good companies to choose from, or you just sort time list by one. And then we give reports on one conservative company and one aggressive company. So this is for aggressive investors, Global Blood Therapeutics, and here it is. Or we can go down to why they like it, and I'll keep going down here. For conservative investors, this month is Lincoln Educational Services. And again, you can go down and read about that. So what I just showed under the dashboard, I'm clicking the dashboard here. Under the quick links, under the left-hand columns, I show the climate change portfolio and the special situations portfolio. Now I'll show about mutual funds, Fund Advisor Plus. If you have a fund in mind, a mutual fund in mind, you could look it up right here and you can take a look at it. I think all Fidelity funds begin with an FX. So I don't know this fund. I'm just going to click it and I'm going to hit go. Sometimes the librarian calls and says, I know I get mutual funds, but I don't know how. And I have a patron asking how. And they think it's that quick links box on the dashboard where I looked for Honda and Apple, but it's not. It's Fund Advisor Plus. We give it a rank of 3. Remember, value line 1 is good, 5 is bad, and a risk rank of 2. And this is how the S&P is done against the fund. And you can print this out if you like. These are the survey issues. The Fund Advisor has been a printed product for a long time. We do a monthly newsletter. I'm going to go to the Fund Advisor Plus, February 22. We have funds that we highlight, but the real page here that I think is most interesting is this one, the Value Line Fund Advisor Plus Mutual Fund Short List. And I'll try to blow this up. Under each type, a large cap growth, a large cap value, a small cap value, a fund we think is high risk, moderate risk, low risk. Another good page if you're looking for mutual funds to just print out and use for your research. And here's our model portfolio, what we would choose if we could. The library subscribes to ETFs as well. The library subscribes to these newsletters, so they're great to use. I see what we might have. I see the question, Sam. Is there evidence that people active with individual stock selections using tools to byline wind up performing better than the S&P 500 over the long term? I don't, 1 second, excuse me. I don't know if there's anything definitive there other than that we've been in business since 1931. So we're sort of a staple for stockbrokers. I know that. I don't know what kind of studies have been done then, so I'm sorry. I can't like point to a specific study that said that. The question again was, is there evidence that people active with individual stock selections using tools such as Value Line wind up performing better than the S&P 500 over the long term? And I'm sorry, I don't know of anything specific. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here, and I was in the survey issues, and now I'm gonna go to the screener. Likes to log me out tonight. So I'll go back here to the screener. Here it is. This is where you can actually build a screen just like we did before of all those companies, and try to isolate things. So first thing you might want to do is you just want those funds that Value Line's proprietary ranking system gives a 1 or a 2. And there's 4,000 or 4,100 funds that we give a 1 or a 2. A load is a price. You don't want to pay a load. So we're down to 3,300. Expense ratio is how they make their money. It's okay to be 1 or below is sort of an industry standard. You're down to 988. Then you can decide other things. You might want to have an objective description. Before in that newsletter where it said, I mean, in the page 8 where it said small cap, large cap, things like that. If you want, you can go here. I'll go to small cap blend 3. We're down to 3 companies. 1 and a 2, no load. Let's just run the screen. We're going to see the 3 companies. And expense ratios are here, net asset value, and I'm going to click this one, the top one. And it's going to give me a report. And you can see how this one was doing. This one's doing a little better than the S&P, and it gets a ranking of 2 from us. Sometimes people like to go to finance.yahoo and compare the fund there to the fund here. And if they both like them, that's like a nice, that's 2 pretty respected areas liking something. So that's running it. Maybe I want to edit the criteria because that was just for the small cap blend. Maybe I want to try mid cap growth. I have no idea what's going to happen here, but I'm changing it. And now I have 69 companies. That's a little much. So I'm going to say, let me have a 1-year return of more than 20% and see what that does. 2. So now I have 2 companies with a return of 20% or higher in the last year that Value Line likes. And I'm going to run that screen, and I can do the exact same thing. I can go ahead and I can print that report. I can print this as a list too. Sometimes you have 7 or 8 or 10 funds come back. You can print that, and it's a nice thing to have out there to cross-reference. Maybe close a few of these. So we're really, well, actually, I want to show you the ETF, and I'll show you a little bit of tutorials. So the Fund Advisor Plus was mutual funds. ETFs, for people who don't know, ETFs are like mutual funds. A mutual fund, no matter what time of the day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. that you buy it, the price doesn't matter until the end of business. So if you buy it at 9:30 in the morning, it's whatever the cost is at the end of the day is what you're buying it at. And if you sell it at 9:30 in the morning, it's whatever the cost is at after 5 o'clock that you're selling it at. An ETF is like a mutual fund, except you can buy it, sell it during the day. You can buy an ETF at 9:30 in the morning and sell it at 11:30 in the morning. So that's much more, for those aggressive traders. But the same concepts apply. Let's see some ETFs that Value Line proprietary ranking gives an A, a 1 and 2. We have 347. And let's see the expense ratio again, less than 1, down to 22. And now we can see performance in the last month. Now we're just playing. 0. So let's see, this is greater than 20. I'm just going to keep going down until I find something. 2. So these are 2 greater than 10% in the last month. 10% in a month is not bad. Run the screen, and here they are. You can just print the list out, or you can kind of take a look right at it if you want to see a little more. So hopefully you're getting some ideas from that dashboard. It's nice and in color, so you can print it out. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard and just kind of remind you what each one was. Fund advisors, mutual funds, special situations is 1 aggressive stock, 1 conservative stock, plus a portfolio of each type. The new ETF service is the screening for an ETF, and climate change is a list of portfolios. VLIS is this week's current issue, selection, opinion, summary, and index. Oh, another question. I might have missed this, but please show how you get the value line from the library page at the end of the talk. All right, Sam, we can do that. So that kind of ends how to use the site. Let me show you a little bit of investment education right here. What I really want to show you is instructional videos, investment education, instructional videos. If you're interested, one thing you should definitely look at is the 1 stock to buy right now. What it says right here, let me highlight that. Let me annotate that. This video is 1 stock to buy right now. You just hit play. It's actually value line analysts, usually 2, maybe 3, almost giving somewhere between a dissertation and a TED talk of companies they like right now and why. So you're absolutely getting their expertise, and usually they actually use that screener I used where I did timely stocks and timely industries, but then they take a bunch of other fields, mix and match, get up to 4 or 5 fields to prove why they like a certain company. And you'll see that, well, it's a little harder to read, but usually about 1,800 people a month throughout the world log into these and watch them. And my guess is that these people come, they watch this video, they probably ignore the first 25 minutes where the analysts are actually going through the steps of how to use the site to prove that what they like. They're probably just going to the end to get the company they like and just jotting down the name. But I got there from investment education, instructional videos, and just do the featured videos, which is 1 stock to buy right now. There's also a glossary. If you're ever interested in what a term means, you can just kind of hit the letter and you can see. And under value line itself, under customer service portal is investment education here. And this is actually a nice little descriptions, investment basics, stock overview, stock prices, expectations, that kind of thing. I think that does it for me. Sam, if you're still there, maybe I don't know if you want to take the screen and show them how to get to the link.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Thank you, Sean. That was really informative, and I think everybody really appreciated it.
I hope it helped.
So I'm sure it did. So I'm going to take over really briefly. First of all, thank you, Sharon. That is a great question. And I'm actually really excited to show everyone how to get to value line through New Canaan Library. So I'm going to first share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to go and navigate to our library website, which is newcanaanlibrary.org. And once you get to our website, it might just take a moment to load. Let's see what's happening here. There we go. Okay, so this is newcanaanlibrary.org, and we are redesigning the website, but at the moment, when you scroll down, so we have all sorts of the things we have going on, events for you to know about this week, some transactional things for you under How Do I, and then you come down to Read, Learn, and Create. So you're going to go to what we call the Learn ribbon, and you're going to click on Research, and that's where we have all of our databases. So I'm going to click on Research. That's just going to take a minute to come up. And as you scroll down, we have all of our databases at the bottom. I'm going to scroll all the way down really quickly to show you just how many databases we have. But our featured databases, and Value Line is one of our featured databases, would be here towards the top. It's alphabetical under featured databases. So here's where you see Value Line. It explains what it is. You can click on instructions, but we're going to skip that and go straight to the login. And I'm going to walk you through the instructions. So in order to access Value Line remotely, you do need to type in your barcode number. So I should be able to remember this. So I'm going to input my New Canaan Library barcode. I'm going to select Login. And that will bring you to the dashboard that Sean showed you earlier today. And you know you're logged in through, it says, welcome New Canaan Library. You have access to all of the really great functionality that Sean has showed us this evening. I do love investment education. If you want to learn about, it's a little overwhelming. It's an incredibly powerful resource. You can use it for some very simple research, but it's a great place to spend some time to learn more and to fully use all of the capabilities. I just got your message. You're welcome, Sharon. So before we sign off, does anyone have any more questions for me or for Sean? I can answer any questions about access. If you have any problems accessing any of our databases, you should absolutely call us at the library. You can call the information desk, or you go to newcanaanlibrary.org. We do try to embed access information in all of these portals. So where I showed you at newcanaanlibrary.org, you can absolutely select instructions, and it will walk you through how to get access. Another very important detail I want everyone to know: if you lose track of your library card, if you call us during regular library hours, we can look up your number right away, and then you can go ahead and log on. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, I think there's something in the chat. Can you access Value Line from home? Yes, I'm actually running tonight's event from my house. So yes, I am on my home Wi-Fi. I'm on my laptop at home, and I just navigated within a browser to the newcanaanlibrary.org website, and I typed in my barcode. Oh, this is a very important question. So Celine is asking us if a Greenwich resident with a Greenwich library card can access the New Canaan Library digital content. Unfortunately, the answer is no. If you want to check out any physical item, a book or a DVD, you can check out that item physically from any Connecticut library. It's all part of a system, and all you have to do is take your valid library card from your home library and register it with any Connecticut library to check out materials. Unfortunately, for the digital library and for databases and digital content, due to the authentication, we have no control over this. You actually have to use your home library barcode. The good news, Celine, is that Greenwich Library has a robust collection of databases and digital content, and you can check with them to see if they offer Value Line. And if they don't, you can let them know that you're interested. Does anybody have any other questions for me? See, the chat is clear. See a lot of familiar names on the attendee list. I'm going to give it another minute. If anybody has any other questions for Sean about using Value Line, or for
I'll
me, for
I'll get
access,
back to you on the S&P 500 and the Wilshire 5000.
that would be great. And I can send that to the person asking. Okay, so Selena's asking whether this session is recorded. Yes, we did record this session, and it will be on our library YouTube page. And then we just have some expressions of gratitude. Thank you so much, Sean. This is a great night. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely have you back. I think everybody really loves Value Line. It's a great resource, and I'm glad we are able to offer it to our patrons.
Oh, no, you're welcome, and I appreciate it. It's just great to know people are using it. That's great. So,
Okay, everyone, have a wonderful evening.